is regions.
Regions.
Do you want to set up the issue about where the Midwest is and isn't?
A real issue.
Because this is a Midwestern show. Sorry, coastal fucks.
Yeah.
But we're in the Midwest. We're going to talk about it.
All right.
Oh, I live in California. Go fuck yourself.
Enjoy the weather. Sorry about the wildfires.
Seriously, enjoy the weather.
So, how would you really define, like, if you were asked to, like, in what parameters would you say, how would you define the Midwest?
I've like gotten into debates over this.
It's
By
crazy.
debates, I mean I've gone on the internet and looked at Reddit. People have debates about it.
Right.
And liked and downvoted certain comments.
That's fine. Fucking participation. It's weird too. Like, this was something, I stumbled upon recently, where it's like one of those things where you almost go like, wait, there's actually a debate about this? Like, there's people, and then almost sometimes maybe good points, but it was one of those things you stumble upon. You're like, I didn't even know this was a topic of debate. It's almost like the toilet paper thing. Apparently, there's a certain way to do toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, whoa, we're even debating that?
The internet has allowed too many debates to take place.
But the amount of people on that side is kind of nuts.
Well, here's the thing. People rarely debate what the South is. I mean, there's nuances, though. Because is, like, Kentucky considered the South?
Yeah,
People in the deeper South would say no. We would say yes.
Yeah.
My stepmom lives in Louisville, and she 100% has the
part
Southern
of that
accent.
Appalachia-esque area.
True.
So.
Which is like kind of the dividing line
Yeah.
between, the Northeast. We all know what the Northeast
That
is.
one's much more distinct.
But where
Obviously,
does it stop? Where does it stop? Because you were saying that
Where does it stop? I've been
some-
asking that question.
some people consider Pennsylvania to be the Midwest, which I wholeheartedly reject.
Right. That's one of the big ones. I was like, what are you... Like, I get Ohio, like a lot of people. I kind of get that just because
Well, what's your take on Ohio? Because I think that's where it starts.
Let me tell you about fucking Ohio, all right? All right, Ohioans.
90%
First
of
all,
our listeners live in
you're-
Ohio.
You're not for lovers. That's
Absolutely
factually
not.
incorrect. One reason, because when I think of the Midwest, I honestly think of very less population, more like basically kind of land people, but not in the way like the Southwest is different just because you're talking desert or plains type of stuff. But I think about also cities that they are kind of stand alone in a sense where like you do have big cities in the Midwest, but there's far separation kind of from them in a sense. And like one of the reasons I really didn't consider Ohio too much like the Midwest is because they got Cleveland, Cincinnati,
Columbus.
and Columbus. They got all pretty big populated cities, like all together. Like it seems basically, honestly, when you think of the Midwest, you think of less urbanization.
Fair.
And it's just like, so in Ohio, I think it has a good amount of, or like, I think it's honestly, Ohio is one of the maybe top 10 of like populated states. So just for that alone, I think more urbanization. So I think less Midwest, which I will admit doesn't make a lot of sense in some respects, but I don't know.
I think it's not totally fair, but I see what you're doing. You're taking some core features of the Midwest and you're using them as limiters for what does or does not rise to that standard. And if you take a sort of more rural, spread out idea of the Midwest, then Ohio is highly concentrated. But then you even could get into, I guess, Michigan, and they have high populations. Yeah, they have high populations, but they don't have like three, four huge cities like Ohio does. But there's like a rule in geography when it comes to cities and their closeness, and it is just rooted to population.
Yeah.
So cities have to serve certain population groups. So if you have, like in the East Coast, you have huge population centers across the entire East Coast because that's had the longest time to develop and create populations. And so you have these huge cities very, very close to each other, back to back to back, from D.C., Baltimore, Philly, New York City, Boston. It's almost like it is a mega region.
Right.
The separation between those are pretty fraught and vague compared to the separation between Omaha and Denver and Chicago.
Well, and you also, so like thinking in that context, you also think of what is done, how the economy is shaped and stuff like. So what do the working people do? Like, so on that side, a lot of it is based on ports. It's based on, things like fishing or other stuff you do at ports. But you know what I mean?
I don't know. Sectors, like industrial or agricultural sectors.
There's not, I mean, maybe there is. I'm dumb, but like I'm not, there's not like a
It's
shitload
complicated
of corn.
because there's sub-regions,
There's
right?
not a shitload of corn in Maine, right?
Right.
There's lobsters.
There's lobsters. I've
Apparently
heard.
there's a
I've never
shitload.
been there, but I've heard.
Everybody's just like lobsters.
But there's sub-regions like the Rust Belt, which stretches from the Midwest into the kind of parts of the Northeast, right? Buffalo, New York is Northeast, but it goes all the way up through Cleveland and shit like that, which is in the Midwest. And that's a manufacturing hub that has been hollowed out by neoliberalism. And so that's where an argument like you're making comes more into effect. But okay, let's just get down to the nitty gritty.
Okay.
What is the Midwest? Here's my take.
All right.
The Midwest does start in Ohio.
Okay.
I don't have such high standards that Ohio's out. I think Ohio is the far eastern front of the Midwest.
Okay.
Obviously, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota. Very few people would argue with those.
Except,
Wisconsin, of course.
I swear to God, people would be like, yes, Illinois, except Chicago.
Yeah, but that's not fair because Chicago is.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying. I
yeah.
think a lot of people almost for that.
Yeah, now your standards is just no big cities, and that's bullshit.
Well, no, what I was more speaking to is that I think people think that Chicago is almost its own state, like, because Illinois is so much different from just the mega city. That Illinois is basically like Indiana, but just with like a New York in it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. But I also think Chicago is the quintessential Midwestern mega city. Like, if America balkanized into regions and the Midwest was its own functioning state, Chicago would be our capital.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Omaha is deeply connected to it. Minneapolis is deeply connected to it. It is like it's in like the center of the Midwest as well. So its spokes go out to all parts of the Midwest and beyond.
One side thing when doing this too, what you realize is fucking how bad maybe not yours, but how bad people's, and probably yours too, skills of like direction on a map, where placement.
Yeah, not like, mine because I'm obsessed about this weird shit. I got like really into geography for like a straight year.
Yeah,
it's not cool. Like
that is cool because so many people are just like, "Whoa, Kentucky's that close."
I like test myself. Like I take a world map, and me and Levi actually did this once when we were in France. We took an empty world map and we said,
"You better have been high."
We sat next to each other on our phones and we tried to see who would win, who could fill in the most states correctly. I beat his ass.
But did it have the states parsed out with the lines and everything though too?
It's a global map, so it just had countries.
Oh wait,
you had to fill so the states I would fucking destroy it.
Okay, well you said states.
I get 100%.
I get now countries.
Nation states, yeah.
It'd be very weird to use a global map just to do the states.
Anyway, so I'm weirdly into it, and I hound my family about it. I hound
this is a whole new thing going on.
My daughter and my wife about it, like, because they don't fucking know fucking shit, and so it's like, yeah, just really.
You have a prenup that's just like, tell me where Kansas is. Yes, not Kansas City. Tell me where Kansas is.
I embarrass them regularly with these questions.
I don't think they're embarrassed.
They don't like it.
They're embarrassed of you.
Well, this might be true.
But you know what I mean, though, right? Like,
people don't know fucking shit.
Right. Well, okay, but also
they don't have to. I'm not saying that you should know this stuff. It's like people don't know about philosophy. Yeah, people aren't spending their time learning about fucking Sartre.
But the states that like things like that, people are just way off. They've shown a lot of times where people are just they're fucking. And I don't mean like jaywalking, like those stupid things where you just surprise a random stranger, be like, you don't know this, but I mean like real like sort of like polls and stuff about where they think stuff is. But anyways, okay, so you were going to
name them all.
The Midwest, yeah.
Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri. Missouri is one of those borders. You might be able to split that state in.
Missouri is weird, but I would say Midwest.
And I think they even sided with the South in the Civil War.
It was bloody Kansas. Wait, no, that's Kansas. You think Kansas City?
Bleeding Kansas.
Get it together. Bloody Missouri.
But now some people start to get weird on this one. This is where we come in. So I'm keeping Missouri in, more or less. But, the Ozarks and stuff going to Arkansas, it's...
Missouri is like Midwest Florida.
Yeah. And in southern Missouri, you start seeing Confederate flags and shit.
I mean, seriously, that's for like the people, like
it's
in the craziness. I drove down like just the highway in Missouri, and basically you'll see like ambulance chaser, like law firms, fireworks, porn stores, and Jesus will save you. Just back to back.
Absolutely. It's the most southern of the Midwestern states. I think we can agree on.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you go into now what I would argue is this is where the Midwest meets the Great Plains. So these states overlap with both.
Oh wait, you didn't say Colorado, did you?
Colorado's not in the Midwest.
Ah.
We'll get there, but now we're going North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas. Right? This is what I would say is the far western side of the Midwest. It's where the Midwest meets the Great Plains and eventually enters into the Mountain West if you keep going past them, right?
Yeah.
But a city like Omaha is right on the border of Iowa and Nebraska. I think Omaha is 100% a Midwestern city.
Oh, no doubt.
When you talk about Great Plains, you start getting out into like the landscape changes, right? The plants are shorter and more sparse, right? It's like the Great Plains is a different ecological zone than the more foresty Midwest proper. So Nebraska as a state, I would put it into the Midwest, but if we're making delineations, I would say that the second or the western 2/3 of the state, this probably applies to Kansas as well, fall more into the Great Plains territory, but that's where it bleeds together. But Omaha is the furthest west major Midwestern city.
Really?
Kansas City is a little shifted to our east. You go down into the east of Kansas City.
Here's what I'm stuck on right now. You know what's funny? I can't even fully defend this, but I just feel this way. I was just like, Colorado's Midwest.
No.
Is it? Well, okay, so here's the ultimate thing. We're not going to do Mountain West and Great Plains.
Don't piss me off.
Let's just say we break it down. South, right? South, Midwest, West, just West Coast. So you think Colorado is more West than Midwest?
100%. It's the West Coast and the Mountain West. So you can split those up and say there's the West Coast from Seattle down to San Diego, and then there's the Mountain West, the actual mountainous interior West. But if you're just going to call it all the West starts with the Mountain West. That's Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico.
Okay.
You know?
All right, that makes, I guess. I don't know why, too. I was actually kind of just tickled. I was like, why am I thinking this? But I just felt like Denver. Here's the biggest thing. I just felt like Denver was a Midwest city. Which is funny because Colorado is not Midwest, but it just felt like Denver is kind of.
And Denver is like, if you're in Omaha, to your west is Denver, to your north is Minneapolis, to your east is Chicago, to your south is KC.
Right, and that's what I think of as like, that's like the
so we kind of from our locus. But you got to remember that we are on the furthest western outpost of the Midwest.
That's true.
So.
And people think Pennsylvania. I can't get over Pennsylvania.
That's north. That's northeast to the core.
Yeah, I'm dying on that hill, dude.
But here's where it gets complicated, which is Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, okay. Yes, that was another one.
Now, when you think of the South, you're obviously thinking Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Florida, the Carolinas, Tennessee. We can talk about West Virginia and Kentucky, but
let's not.
I think we can say those are more or less part of the South. They're not the Northeast and they're not the Midwest. But when you get over into the western part of the South, questions arise, and with two main states, Oklahoma and Texas. Texas, I think we can genuinely say, is a part of the South. It's more south than Oklahoma, but also it's kind of its own thing. Texas is a unique kind of microculture in the broader U.S. It's not its own region, but
I think of it as Southwest, though. Like that's
Southwest?
where I put it. Like that major region.
It's so big it can be chopped, right? Like the eastern half of, like if you're on the border of Louisiana and Texas, you're in the deep South. If you're on the the western border of like Texas where it meets New Mexico and stuff, you're in the Southwest. But so it's kind of hard. But most of Texas is the center. Most of Texas is the Great Plains.
Right.
Dallas, Austin, San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So Texas really spreads across. It touches maybe 3 regions.
I right now don't know if people find this fascinating. Or they're like, this is fucking insane how boring this is.
We can wrap this up, but
I don't know. I just
Oklahoma is one of the weirdest positions.
Oklahoma is. That was another one on the message boards and such that was a big thing of argument. Like, no, it's fucking totally Southwest. Like, what are you talking about? But it's just like, because that's what started this whole thing is when you're talking about like 2 Midwest cities, the Thunder, Oklahoma City, and it was just like, that's immediately, I was like, is Oklahoma Midwest though?
Right.
Because it doesn't feel like it. It feels like basically like Texas is like stepbrother.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It could easily be absorbed into Texas.
Texas has got enough.
But Texas is different because you go down to San Antonio, you see palm trees and shit. I drove through Oklahoma. I've been to Tulsa multiple times. I went to OKC, drove across the entire state twice.
My condolences.
And I actually kind of liked it. But it's very much Nebraska and Kansas-y. Right? Like when I'm in Oklahoma, it feels very...
Right.
Like the ecology feels Midwestern.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas if I go deep into southern parts of Texas, I'm like, I'm in a new ecology. Like the first time I see a palm tree, we're out of the mid-fucking West.
Right.
But I think that's where the Great Plains comes into question. The Great Plains covers everything east of the Rockies, so it covers half of Colorado.
Yeah.
It dips down into Texas. It's Oklahoma, Kansas. It's all Tornado Alley, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Probably even up. I mean, you can say the Great Plains goes up into the Dakotas as well, the northern Great Plains. But yeah, that sub-region comes into play. And you can even make a sub-region of the Great Lakes region.
Oh my God,
right?
That's not.
Like where the Northeast meets, but okay.
I think what is just surprising is you realize how there's quite a few states that are very varied in ways you wouldn't think of. Because I was just thinking about that with Texas. You have, like El Paso, and then you have like the Texarkana region where, then you just have Oceanside where, like down in Corpus Christi, Corpus Christi, God damn it, I knew I was going to say that. Corpus Christi! No, but if you just plop me down there just for a moment, I could easily think that, I'm in California. Just because of the, especially those towns in Corpus Christi, where it's like they have like they look like a beach town.
Yeah, I've never been there, but I know where it's located and where it would be.
It feels just like a Venice.
You're almost on the Caribbean. I mean, the Gulf of Mexico bleeds into the Caribbean, and
Right.
so lots of bleeding, folks. Okay,
Lots
but the
of-
last question on this
Bleeding
point
Missouri.